Hi everybody, welcome to the KMS Quick Shots. My name is Flo and my guest at this time is the Los Angeles-based singer-songwriter Fay Blackmore, better known as Bellavolent. So hi Fay, nice to meet you.
Hi, Flo. Lovely to meet you. Officially over video. I know we've talked in other ways.
We did, right. So let's dive right into you, the musician. First question of the night would be, what did happen back in the days when young Fay decided I'm going to be a musician?
Oh, that's a good question. So it wasn't really like a decision necessarily that I made super consciously. I just always loved singing and just was in love with music. And I actually grew up in very small towns in Utah. And I remember telling like my family and friends, like, I'm going to be a singer someday. And that was kind of unheard of in smaller towns, like in Utah, especially very rural communities. And I was always told, oh, that's not possible, don't do that. But I just kept wanting to. And as I became an adult, I just started to reach out to different musicians. I was like, let's make music. And so it was more just like, I knew I loved singing and people loved me singing. And I just always held on to, the passion for it from childhood.
So from what age did you start singing?
I never really sang professionally until I was an adult, but I started singing just as soon as I could talk, really. So I imagine I was really talking properly by 5, or younger.
So young, okay.
Yeah.
So growing up, you learned all the genres there are, and I'm pretty sure you tested the waters with any other genre. Landing at the bass pop trap genre mix blend, you describe your music as. So while I think this is pretty accurate, I'd add soul, emotion, deepness to it maybe. But is this genre blend where you feel most comfortable with, or did you try creating in other genres as well?
Yeah, I mean, my first debut album, I worked with this amazing producer in Italy named Lorenzo Montana, and he he basically for months let me just send over music that I was inspired by, and he created an album for me. And it was a lot more chill, chill step, new wave. A little people kept telling me it sounded like a mix between Massive Attack meets Lana Del Rey, or Portishead meets Madonna, or Lorde meets what's this, there's some other band I keep forgetting that I could keep getting compared to.
Never heard of them.
If I remember, I'll bring it back up. But it was definitely like a 90s, vibe. Um, so yeah, my first album was very more like trip hop, new wave, and pop. But I didn't actually know that it was pop. I wasn't trying to be pop. I was actually kind of anti-pop, but people kept calling it pop. And so eventually I was just like, I have to accept that I've made pop music. And it took me some time to move on from the first album. I was just trying to figure out how to get it out there into the world and make something out of it. And eventually I met with my current keyboardist. He's from Argentina, Lucas Villamer, and I found him on Bandmix or some website like that where I was searching for bandmates. And he and I, at this point in my life, had a huge love for pop. I had gone from anti-pop to okay, world, I love pop music
What
so
happened?
much. Yeah. And me and him just really understood each other's musical language and what we enjoyed. But we went really pop with Holding It Down. That was our first track together. So actually that track took a very long time to finish and put out. because I was just such a perfectionist about it.
Yeah, I guess most of the musicians are, but so back to the Italian producer, did you also meet him on the internet, or how did you come up with an Italian producer living in LA?
Yeah, so he actually came out to Los Angeles to play with one of his projects, Ty and Tiffany. And at the time, I had just moved back to LA and I didn't actually have a place to live yet. I used to have this big 1983 Ford Econoline van. It was like this big custom designed, beautiful van. I was um, had been known to live out of it and travel the country. So I always felt comfortable moving somewhere because I knew I had my van. But the problem with that was if I didn't hang out with people, then I was just like a street kid, like just in my van. So I was very social because of that. And luckily, because of that, a couple of my friends knew of Lorenzo's band, Ty and Tiffany, and they're like, let's go see them play. And interestingly enough, because I'd been overly social because of my situation, I was kind of like hiding in the corner of the venue and just not wanting to talk to anyone because I'm like, I need some alone time. And Lorenzo said that he saw me in the corner of the club and that there was like some big light, like aura around me. He's very spiritual like that. And he said that something just kept telling him that he needed to talk to me. Like some inner voice was like, go talk to that woman. And his English wasn't very good at the time, so it was very much not even a whole lot of talking, more of just sitting next to each other and feeling each other's energy. And I hadn't actually ever felt so peaceful next to someone, so I was like, this is really interesting. Who is this person? And before we parted, I told him I'm an aspiring singer, and that I wanted to keep in touch in case maybe he'd want to make music with me.
So
And yeah,
there also was sort of chemistry happening before you even decided to make music together, I guess.
yeah, there was we started talking like as friends, and uh I had been working on getting all of my own home studio recording equipment for a while, and I kept like not having the right stuff, or like things weren't working for some reason. And the day everything worked in my home studio happened to be his birthday, and I sang him like a super like jazzy, bluesy, burlesque happy birthday song. And he loved it so much. He was like, oh my gosh, here, sing on this. And he gave me what's now the instrumental is now the song on my album called Go Everywhere. But I sang on it, and then he took what I sang and he made Someone Like You, which is the third song on our album. And then after that, he said, do you want to come to Italy and make an album? And I said, yes. Saved like $10,000 in 6 months and went to Italy for 3 months and made an album with him.
So you're a full-time musician, is that correct?
I'm not. Like technically, I've kind of been a full-time musician because the pandemic here, and I got to get on unemployment up until it just ended. So I'm hoping that I can figure out, way to become a full-time musician, and or just working in the music industry in general. I have a lot of skills that can be helpful to other music artists.
So why the hiatus between the first album and the recent single Holding It Down?
Like I said, I really was just trying to run with Dream, which is the name of the debut album. I just was just running with it and trying to do everything with it. It made me forget why I started to make music in the first place, is because I wanted to make music, not to get it. Like, I'm happy that it gets out there, but I kind of became a little bit like obsessed with the idea of making it successful rather than just creating music. And I definitely shifted that idea a couple of years ago. I was like, no, the most important thing is that I make music because that's what makes me happy. And I don't really care at this point if people hear it. I hope that they do, but it's not really why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I feel happy when I make music. So
yeah, I can think about this in a way. Many musicians tell me that the part where you promote your music is even bigger and more stressful than actually create the music, why they become a musician in the first place. So you have to
yeah,
do all on your own. You won't get anywhere, and you surely as hell won't get happy with that. So once
yeah.
you have I don't know, a company taking care of the promotional stuff, and you can concentrate on the music, that's where the fun really starts. So next question would be, is Boss Babe Records, I guess, is this yours, or is it?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
okay. Because I was
yeah.
wondering about the label who released your latest single. So
Yes, I definitely want to work on that label. I have a few different people who've actually had labels before or have labels that want to help me like cultivate Boss Babe Records. The idea behind it was, especially with Dream, I was shopping labels for a long time and I couldn't really figure out how to tap into that world. And I just was, from what I researched, it's labels don't typically like cold contact. So I decided that instead of holding out on releasing my music because I didn't have a label, on DistroKid, when you go in, they actually have a thing that says what, put in the name of the label, and then it says, if you don't have one, make one up. And
okay.
I was like, oh, okay. And I was really surprised that Boss Babe Records doesn't exist yet. I was like, this is the perfect name for a label. And I know that like once I get it off the ground, there's going to be so many artists that want to be a part of Boss Babe Records because everybody wants to be a boss babe.
Yeah, and it's a name to be recognized out there. So it goes well on T-shirts, on banners, on everywhere. So the name
Yeah.
itself has some ring to it.
Mhm.
So let's talk about your new release, Holding It Down, for a second, which came with the original version. You did an acoustic version as well, and you did for both versions the video for it. So it seems that was a lot of work, uh, especially with the videos, because they don't come overnight at all.
No.
So tell us about the song from idea to the finished product. What was the initial idea, and what made you do all the work, and what perfectionism drove you through the whole process?
So Holding It Down changed me as an artist. It was the first song that made me realize that I needed to go from like Dream was really good. I love Dream, but it was just that. It was just really good. And I had met with a few different music executives that were like, yeah, you are really good, but we don't want really good. We want exceptional. We want like really like amazing, hard to find talent. And so when Luke originally gave me the track to sing over, it wasn't what you hear today. It was actually a remix that a client had paid him to make. So it was a completely different song. And it was the fastest that I'd ever written like melodies and lyrics in my life, like just less than a day,
Okay.
just boom, overnight, had this like full idea on, and like recorded it for the first demo of like everything you hear as far as the lyrics go and like the basic melody. But I kept trying to get like a good recording of it. Even when as far as recording at Capitol Records Studios, in the same studio that Halsey records in, on like Frank Sinatra's vintage microphone, I think the U87. And just like had this realization that after that point, so silly, after that point, that I needed a vocal coach. I was just like, I hadn't ever really had like a real vocal coach. And it took so much time spend so much money to just like keep trying to get like the best recording. And then I was like, really, it's me. I can't deliver this song the way it needs to be delivered yet. So I went to like vocal boot camp 2 hours a week with Kate Cuneo, who's also a music artist named Violet Gray. And she's still my amazing vocal coach. I see her 3 times a week now. And she just helped me transform my voice from where it was to where you hear it now. And yeah, it took a bit. It took a bit, and like I worked really hard to be able to sing that song. And now that I sing it live, it is one of the hardest songs I've ever sang in my life. It is not easy. I don't really give myself a lot of room to breathe either. But
was this a part where you realized that there's work attached to what you love, or is it just a maturing process that comes naturally now that you do it?
I think it was just me realizing that it wasn't really, I didn't really just want it to be a hobby. You know, it was like, I can understand that if somebody's just making music as a hobby, and sometimes I tell people that it's just a hobby, but that's because I'm trying to create less stress around it. But I do want to do it professionally. And I realized that like there wasn't a way to do that without somebody like Kate in my life, really helping push, you know, my voice to the next level. And it's crazy. Just rehearsal yesterday, singing this voice, I almost cried because it was just so like, so it's such an emotional song, but the way that I was singing it yesterday, I'm like, I wish that would have been the recording. Like, because I just like, I'm always getting better. And like, the more emotional that like I can really get with my voice and like that vulnerability of like, you know, I'm really hoping that I don't cry next week at my show on stage.
You might be going to. With all the COVID restrictions finally lifted, and hopefully lifted for good and not just for a certain time frame now, you're going live soon at September the 15th, if I done my homework correctly.
Yep, a week from today.
Did you do live gigs before COVID hit?
Yes, I did. It actually had been a while because it had been 2.5 years before I just did my first show back on August 5th at the Mint. And about a year before COVID hit, I decided that I didn't want to play live until I had a whole new set of songs. So my live show now is literally mostly unreleased music. I think there's 3 songs out of 9, or like 3 songs out of 10 that haven't been released. So there's 7 songs that haven't been released yet that I've been playing live. And that was just the goal. I was like, I didn't want to play my old music anymore. I was sick of it. So I was like, I'm not gonna play live anymore until I have enough music to be like a full new set.
So you talked about the new album with the unreleased tracks coming on that album as well. Is there the future project expected this year, or will the album take longer to be finished?
I actually am not doing an album because I don't want it to take so long. I've just been wanting to do singles now. But I was thinking of maybe doing like compilation albums, like, or EPs, depending on how many songs I put out. I could do like a 2021 compilation album or EP. Just if somebody really wants to just do an easy, quick download that way. But yeah, I'm not really feeling albums so much anymore because of the fact of how much time it takes and like how easy it is for listeners to forget about you if you're not constantly putting out new music.
That's one point. Yeah, if you don't release one song at least and every 2 months, people stop talking, and that's where your everything went south with the promotional factor in it. So
Yeah.
So what's besides the gig coming up? What's the next big thing after that?
Oh, besides playing live, well, let's see. I'm still working on getting some remixes out of Holding It Down because like you were saying, every 2 months is good. With like Spotify algorithms, it's really like every 28 days or your listener numbers go down. So I've been trying to like work in, that's one of the reasons I did the acoustic version, is because if I can keep putting something out that takes less time every month, even if it's a remix or an acoustic version, then there's that. But I mean, I have me and Luke are working on another song called Can't Control Us. And I'm also a music producer on the bridge. I did all the production on the bridge of the song. And that one's really exciting. I mean, I have quite a few other songs. I'm just working on finishing up Problems, Excuses, Upside Down, Remember When, and then I'm also doing a remake of Leave the World Better, which is on my debut album. The reason I did that is because when I went to put it in my last set, I was trying to sing it and it hurt to sing it. And I realized that the way that I used to sing that song in particular had such poor vocal technique that it was harsh on like my new and improved vocal cords. Not that I got surgery, they just work better.
Hopefully not, yeah.
Yeah, and so I created like this whole new melody around it, and I'm singing the song differently. Plus we have, a live cello on it, and then keys and guitars. So I'm going to be adding more instruments to the original, and just it sounds to me like, I don't know, it's super catchy, and I'm excited about doing that one.
So a really quick short question, quickly thrown at you. If you had a shitload of money and you gotta spend it for whatever you like, what would that be?
Oh my goodness, whatever I like.
Yeah, it could be music related, could also be not music related.
That's so hard because like, I guess, no. Okay, so it would be music related. Definitely just getting like all these songs finished like quickly, like in a professional studio, and not having to, because what I've been doing is all the work myself lately. Like even all the like mixing and everything. And I'm actually, the only reason I know how to mix is just because I just messed around until things sounded good with all of them. I'm like, okay, cool. So yeah, I would probably spend it on getting like a full, like real solid album, and not using so many samples or virtual instruments, because like, I have like a horn section in some of my new songs that are unreleased, and it'd be cool to get like actually have that live. I'd pay for like a really big world tour, because then also it's kind of like a vacation. I would like spread out the dates enough that I can vacation. But I think like I would want to just use the money to have like a really big like ensemble, like horn section, like every instrument that I have I would want to have live, because at this point in my career, I'm just playing with like a backing track and then a cellist. And Luke, like my cellist is Sarah Badity. She's like also a music artist named Club Indigo. And then Luke Villamer, like he plays a lot of different instruments, but when he plays with me, he plays the keys and the guitar. He like switches between them. So I have like a small little band, but it'd be cool to have like a full ensemble, and just do a world tour, like a long one that's also a vacation.
So if you ever win the lottery or something like this, I can guarantee you, standing in the midst of the ensemble playing your songs, that will tear you up. You won't be able to hold back, because I guess I can relate to the thing being played live and getting so much additional texture with it. So I love the fact that you can sit down on your computer today and get one of these plugins from Native Instruments or something like this and just play along, and it sounds great. but
Yeah.
having it played by musicians in a real big crowd, that must be awesome. So I can relate to this wish.
And also getting them in the studio, you know, I still try to do that with some of what I'm doing, like when I virtually play cello or violin or anything when I'm producing my own music. I usually will go onto Fiverr and just like hire someone to record it, so I get the real instruments on there. And so I'm very much like, you know, I pay for all of my own music endeavors, so I try to keep it cheap but still good, you know.
What are you sending them? Just MIDI files or something like this? When you say, hey,
Yeah,
look at
I
them.
mean, MIDI files. I can also make you know, a notation sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, last question for the night. I noticed your artwork for the logo with the notes in the back of or either at your t-shirt in the back of at the wall, or on your as a logo, or as your musician's logo. Did you create this by yourself?
I did, yeah. I was told by somebody that I admire quite a bit, who's also a music producer, Sugar Pill. He told me, because he used to manage artists as well, he told me that like it sells better to not have like your name logo on stuff, but to have like a symbol. So in my head,
now I have a problem.
oh, you have both though.
Yeah.
You have both. You can have the option, you
Yeah.
know?
Okay. So
It's cool, yeah. But
it probably
so
it has to have something to remember, and it definitely has with you. So the question aims into the direction: are you artistically creative as well, besides the music?
I think I am. I mean, I directed my own music videos, and I have always liked to draw. Like I drew this out. It comes from the O in Bellavolent. You know, the O is like an I. So I took you know, the I, and then I thought if I just put a G clef on it, and then I wrap the, you know, the bass clef around it, then it would look cool. And then when I did that, I was like, it looks really cool. So
Yeah, you say that like it was nothing. Like, so, just do that and this, and hey, okay, that's perfect. So
yeah.
it's also a gift to be creative in the ways to just dabble around with certain elements and come up with something unique. And yeah, that's why I was curious about it. So
Awesome.
all right, that's it for the night. Hey, thank you so much for being with me tonight. Guys, if you want to know more about Bellavolent and her projects, especially the upcoming gig and the new single, make sure to check out the socials you'll see at the end of the video. And don't forget to like, follow, and share not only her work, but also my work. That's it for tonight. All I have to say is be safe, guys. See you soon. Bye.